Good evening, fellow colonists. Thank you for tuning in. Today is March 5th, 1770, and there's a developing news story in Boston. Protesters have gathered on King Street in Boston, Massachusetts, to protest the occupation of British soldiers in their city. 2 years ago, British soldiers began moving into Boston to enforce British laws onto the colonists. Many acts, such as the Quartering Act, the Townshend Acts, and the Stamp Act, have caught lots of hate and protest. In order to enforce these acts, Great Britain made a controversial move and assigned soldiers to the city to enforce them. When citizens were asked how they felt, some said their barging in is a violation of their rights to freedom, while others said it is a justified law. Our man Wes High is out in the scene now to interview people at the protest. To you, Wes.
Thank you, Mike. I'm here in the streets of Boston that is protesting the occupation of the British soldiers. The British soldiers are occupying the city in order to enforce taxes on the colonists. A few major taxes imposed on them include the Sugar and Townshend Acts, which increase taxes on paper, paint, lead, glass, and tea. Many colonists oppose the occupation by the British soldiers and see it as a violation of their human rights. I have with me today one of the protesters, Samuel Gray, a 51-year-old rope maker who wants to share his view on the taxes. So, Mr. Gray, why are you and your fellow citizens here protesting?
We're just sick and tired of these unreasonable laws being placed upon us common folk. You know, us common folk, we haven't had any sense of freedom since, the beginning of the French and Indian War. It's been that long. We need change now, so we're drawing the line here.
Are there any acts in particular you're protesting, or just the occupation of the soldiers?
Definitely both. I speak for the rest of the men here, definitely both of them are really getting under our skin. We're tired of this unreasonable taxes that we just can't pay from our businesses, and the unjustified occupation. We haven't done anything against the crown to deserve this.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
I'm here with someone today who is against the protests. What is your name, sir?
Sorry, I'd rather not be named if that's okay.
We understand you wanting your safety, so why are you against the protests?
Well, because, frankly, the British are not in the wrong here. Their own citizens have been breaking the law for countless years. They had to do something to enforce it. I mean, what kind of empire just allows their subjects to disobey the law?
So do you agree with everything that the British are doing?
I think this is necessary, I do. I think that the occupation has to happen in order to enforce the laws. But that's not saying I agree with everything the British do. I just think this is necessary. I mean, if it's that big of a deal, if everyone just would comply, it'd be over pretty soon.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Back to you, Mike.
Wes. In other news, Thomas Hutchinson is the official acting governor for the province of Massachusetts. The previous governor, Francis Bernard, resigned as of last year. His true reason for resignation is not fully known at this point, but it is believed that it was due to his unpopularity among the residents of the state. There is some controversy over Hutchinson, however. For those that remember, conflict arose in 1765, 5 years ago, and revolutionaries gutted his home. They did this in reaction to the Stamp Act, even though he was one of the few royal governors that actually opposed it. As if today he... What's up? Thank you. Okay. As of today he... What? Oh my... Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Violence has erupted in Boston on the streets of the protest. Shots were fired into the crowd by British officers. We do not know yet how the violence started, but it is believed that one shot was fired by a British officer, and this prompted the other officers to open fire. 3 people are confirmed dead, 8 are wounded, and 2 men are in critical condition. It says we have footage of the first shot fired, although we must warn you, this footage is graphic.
Go back to England.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have heartbreaking news to bring to you today. It's been 2 weeks since the Boston shooting happened, and the 2 men that were in critical condition have died from their wounds. it has been reported that British Private Hugh Montgomery was the first to fire, and this was the reason that the other British officers opened fire into the crowd. Captain Thomas Preston is believed to be put under investigation for whether or not he gave the order to fire. Hugh White, Hugh Montgomery, Matthew Kilroy, John Carroll, James Hartigan, William McCauley, William Warren, and William Wims are all the soldiers that are on trial for this event. Citizens have taken to the newspapers in order to illustrate this unjustifiable incident. One drawing by Paul Revere coined this nickname, the Boston Massacre.